We come to this place for magic, to laugh,
To cry.
To care.
but most importantly to argue about movies. We are
The Box Office Buds.
My name is Tony Squares. As always, I'm joined by Alexander Kellerman, Alexander Alche. We have producer TJ Jones in the back. He may be making an appearance in this very chair very shortly because it's time to talk about I Know What You Did Last Summer and Smurfs, a double deuce
We're not talking
on the
about
weekend.
Smurfs. We're not talking about Smurfs.
I gotta say, it bothers me just a little bit when you talk about these movies this way and you didn't see either one of them.
Let me tell you, it took a shit at the box office.
Oh, boy.
Because both of these numbers went well under what they were projected to make at the box office, hitting a double under for yours truly, Mr. Tony Squares, and guessing these over-unders. You can't deny that whether this movie was good or bad, either Smurfs or I Know You Did Last Summer, nobody saw them.
Yeah, I think that the bigger movies are still just dominating the box office, you know?
13 million domestically for I Know We Did Last Summer, less than that for Smurfs.
Not quite 28 million, huh?
No, it didn't make it.
Not quite.
TJ's
Our
prediction.
fearless producer, who is excellent with the lines, got very, very excited about the film.
As he said, he made the line with his heart.
He
that
did.
time
He did.
instead of with his
And
head.
you know what? That's totally cool. And I totally can understand how somebody who adores this genre as much as Thomas Jones Wortham adores this genre love this movie. We'll get into it in a little bit.
Yeah,
We will.
and the lesson is don't trust your heart.
Yeah.
Never follow
it'll lead you
your
to the
heart,
wrong
kids.
place every time.
Never follow your heart. We will have a review of I Know What You Did Last Summer coming in a moment. But first, the reason why we do this podcast, we're very excited for this week because this man is a huge movie coming out. We'll be talking about Fantastic Four later. We'll be talking about maybe an Adam Sandler resurgence later on as well. But for today's episode, it's
left.
all about our box office league. The three of us and our friends have drafted 5 movies coming out this calendar year. Whoever makes the most money in the worldwide box office wins that league. I am the defending champion and the current leader of this year, and I can only say that for, I believe, one more week.
Yes, you're hanging on by a real thin margin.
Thank you to Lilo and Stitch being the only movie released primarily in America that made over $1 billion. I am at 1.6 billion worldwide. Dangle's close behind me at 1.5, but faltering. TJ, thanks to Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, still making a lot of money in third place. Kellerman right behind him, 1.1 in fourth place.
He pushed me out of the top 3.
But you have a monster coming out right now. And
FF is
Alche,
coming.
congratulations on cracking $1 billion. Superman's still making money.
It's doing its thing. F1 is cresting 500
still out
on its
there.
way. Superman is going to be a slow burn. I'm very curious to see where it ends up. It's interesting right now. We're at 406, 407, something to that
406,
effect. So essentially doubling from the week before. The margins were super, super low in terms of the drop-off. I feel pretty good that it's going to have some significant legs. $1 billion? I don't think so. The Superman fatigue is real, man. The superhero fatigue is real.
I don't know.
I'm hoping for 800 million now. That's what I'm hoping for.
I think it still has a chance. I think it still has a chance at $1 billion. I think that it's not even a slow start, but I think that it is technically a slow start just because people are still catching up on F1 and Jurassic World, and they have plenty of time to see Superman.
When you just think about like last year and you look at Deadpool and Wolverine, and that comes out at over $400 million worldwide, and you're like, shit. I mean, they crushed $1 billion.
Yeah.
I remember it fondly.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. And then you look at Top Gun Maverick, similar experience, booming into the box office.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can have this $200 million, 150, 100 slow burn as weeks progress to get to $1 billion.
I think that Superman has a lot of rewatch value because of the way it kind of drops you into this whole new version of everything.
Interesting.
I think that it has the most potential of all the movies I've seen for people to go back a second time at the theater.
I mean, sure, that's a beautiful notion, but like what is that? $50 million worth of tickets? Maybe that would be like the most money ever for rewatch sales. This is not. These are first-time viewers who need to show up again and again each week over the next 2 months for me to hit $1 billion.
Well, you do have Freakier Friday coming out in 2
and
weeks.
you poo-poo on it, but that movie is making some money.
There was no
It
poo-poo
will.
in that
It will
question.
make some money.
There was no poo-poo in that question. There was actually saying Freakier Friday is coming out and is also one of your movies.
It is. Thank you so much. And I also think it's going to do fairly well. Is it going to be something that like brings me to the promised land? No, but like,
Will that be your last movie? Is that your
I
last
have
movie
my
coming
indie
out?
movie, which is Downton Abbey, the grand finale.
Speaking of indie movies, We do have an indie category, a special category. Out of the 5 movies we've drafted, we each have a 6th little special utility belt, a batarang, if you would. This indie movie category, if it makes over $150 million, it's out. It's gone. Whoever reaches closest to $150 million wins a $500 million bonus. And as you saw in the standings just a moment ago, that $500 million is a huge, some would say, this guy, too huge, bonus in this
Wait, you don't
fantasy
agree?
box office ranking. And again, Downton Abbey 3, the final Downton,
The
whatever it's
grand
supposed to be
finale,
called,
thank you.
that could be a movie that makes more than I Know What You Did Last Summer, which is the indie movie of Mr. Jones himself. And I will say, when it comes to Superman 406, before we get off of that, it's a week ahead or a week behind of Jurassic World, right? It came out a week afterwards.
yeah.
Jurassic World buoyed by a holiday weekend at 648 after 3 weeks. So Superman well behind what Jurassic World is making if we're going day by day. Jurassic World could be one, though, that hits that $1 billion to the ire of me.
I mean, you can't fight Jurassic World. Don't fade it.
Let's talk about I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Let's. Tony, look, suddenly
Tony's suddenly attractive. Wow.
Here we go. Thank you for that.
put on glasses and a hat. You look totally different.
Well, after all that slander he just gave my favorite movie of the year, I think we deserve a few insults his way. Well, here we are, gentlemen. The weekend is over. I Know What You Did Last Summer has hit theaters, underperformed by most projections. However, only had an $18 million budget, Kellerman.
Sure. That's true.
It made $22 million already worldwide. So it looks like with the sales continuing, this thing is going to make its money back. We'll see if that promised sequel comes. But I'll open the floor up to you guys. Thoughts?
First of all, I didn't know that its entire budget was $18 million. I actually think that that's pretty impressive. I think that they got a good.
It's
good
incredibly
movie out of that.
impressive what they did with a shoestring budget, with the surprises they were able to build. It tells you that the cast, the OG cast, really wanted this to happen, and we're excited about it. We'll get into the spoiler. This is going to be a spoiler-heavy review.
Yeah,
because
just
how do you not spoil
If
something
you haven't
like
seen
this?
it yet, or if you care about spoilers,
Here's
you
what I'll
might
say.
want to wait.
Here's what I'll say.
Here we go.
I loved your review so much because you cared so much. If you check it out on TikTok or Instagram, it's a beautiful calling to something that is yours. You know, it's like an obsession with Pogs or comics. You have this same sort of feeling as I Know What You Did Last Summer and slasher movies.
a nostalgic.
Beautiful, but an appreciation for a genre that very few have that level of, and those that do can hang with you. I enjoy the slasher genre. It's not my genre. That being said, I had a lot of fun at this movie. I had so much fun at this movie for the first hour. And then things got off the rails beyond what I could have possibly imagined. Some amazing surprises throughout. Some of the worst acting I've ever seen in my life. Freddie Prinze Jr., I could not believe
Freddie's who
how
you're talking about.
terrible he was as Ray. I couldn't believe it. It was like, this man does not have an anger bone in his body, and he's the bad guy. Spoiler alert. He's the bad guy.
Get right to it.
Crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the big spoiler of the movie.
one of them.
This franchise had the testicular fortitude to take a legacy character and make them the bad guy.
And I liked that as a concept, but I really disliked how it was revealed and how it was explained. I thought that his motivation for being I like his motivation for being the killer.
Oh, I hate his motivation for being
Oh
the
no,
killer.
I thought it made perfect sense.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Everybody's
It's not his motivation. It's her motivation.
No. But that's where I think it gets messy. His motivation of everybody just acts like nothing happened to us and it was a really big deal and now I've snapped and I'm ready to kill people for it. I am okay with that.
Where was the runway of that?
There's a bit more to it than that, but go ahead.
That's I'm summarizing, but that alone makes sense to me. If he just was the killer, I think I would have enjoyed this a lot more.
I agree.
But the fact that he had an accomplice that was supposed to complement things, but really just confused. Why would she put on the fisherman slicker?
Because he told her to.
That's weird. She says, "Hey, I want to kill people," and he goes, "Great, put on this fisherman slicker."
I mean, to be fair, like
like nobody thinks
a regular
it's gonna be the
person in
same
society
guy.
just putting on a mask and killing people is.
I mean, that's
weird.
totally fine. I think
I had a real problem
didn't
with
bother
that.
me.
I didn't like her
The fisherman
as the-
slicker
as the
idea.
killer.
The fisherman slicker idea is fine. Here's the issue.
It was also clear that there were two pretty early in the movie to me, and the very first kill, I identified that he was walking like a feminine, like it was walking like a woman, it moved like a woman. The very first kill, I was like, that looked like a chick,
I think that's good.
right? And it was, and
then,
it was.
and then
I
there's
correctly
the extra
identified
layer of Freddie Prinze Jr., which I hated because his motivations were not clear and had no runway. He was in 10 minutes of this entire film.
See, I feel like if he had not been in the movie at all, and then at the very end they revealed Scooby-Doo style, it was Ray the whole time, I would have liked the movie better.
All right, TJ, hop in.
I know. I'm glad I was just brought in to be the middle of y'all's.
We can
hate
go off,
sandwich.
and now it's your turn to school us. School us on the genre. Come on.
School us on the genre. Well, first of all, I just like to say that thank you for that eloquent elaboration on my love for this genre. That is very true. You know, I was talking with Tony Squares earlier, and it really signified the difference between him and I when he said that my love for this movie was, that's a take. Tony, love and passion isn't a take. Okay, I'm not doing this for clicks. This is something ingrained in my DNA. Okay.
The take was that this was your favorite movie of the year.
How is
That's
something
a take.
being your favorite movie
That
a
is
take of the year? I didn't say it was the best. I said it was my favorite. Have you ever? Do
but-
you know me?
Of course,
Okay.
I know you very well.
Okay.
I'm not surprised that is your take, but it is.
That's
a
that a
take.
slasher. Okay. Anyway, so what I'll say about this movie is I sat down. And what I look for in a movie-going experience, I am sober these days, for those out there who don't know. And so the best high I can get is a movie that really does it for me. And I sit down in a movie, and I hopefully, as first acts are supposed to do, and inciting incidents are supposed to do, get you engaged, and I get engaged, and I want to go on that ride, right? And I just let the thing take me there. And as long as I can stay on that ride all the way to the end and nothing bumps me to the point where it takes me out of the movie, then I walk out of that theater elevated. And I felt like that walking out of this movie. Now, is it a masterpiece? Of course not. If you look at the totality of this genre, I mean, how many absolute instant classics are there in the slasher genre? If you think about all the ones that have been made, the percentage is incredibly low.
Yes.
You know, you have Scream, you have Halloween, you have like the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I love the Friday the 13th. There's not a fucking masterpiece in the bunch.
No.
Okay?
No.
So you have to take these things with a grain of salt if you're a fan of this genre. I had an amazing time. It had me locked in the whole time. I thought it was
the whole time.
The whole time. The whole time.
Time?
I thought it was genuinely funny.
Yes,
I laughed.
I agree.
I laughed a lot more than I
Sure.
did in that Tim Robinson movie. Sorry, I thought it was genuinely funny.
I did laugh a lot.
It was funny.
I thought Madeline Klein. I typically don't kind of like the ditzy comic relief character, but I thought her delivery was great. I thought
think she did a good job.
I thought she was so funny.
Okay.
I thought the kills were there were some better than others, but some of the sequences that stood out in particular when Madison Klein's fiance gets murdered while she's in the bathtub, really well done. The sound design, the vibes, super good. Stop that. And then
Man, the cutting away really ruined that whole scene for me.
And then, to me, it's
What
the
the
tone,
hell, bro?
To me, it's the tone. It's if they're not going for the dour, moody vibe of
Right.
the first one. That's what. And if you listen to my review, I say they went for a tone, and they never faltered from that. So if you don't like that kind of campy, ridiculous tone, it's not going to work for you. And I
100%.
don't blame you for not liking it.
I want
But
to pause real quick. Sorry, TD. We'll get back into all that. I want to talk about the kills real quick because I think there was some really great ones, and that one I put at the bottom of the list. I think I
man.
think the best kill was
The guy and his dad.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
So great.
100%. The jock and his dad, or the banker and
Yes.
his dad.
his
Yes.
name was Teddy.
Teddy, thank you, and his dad. Easily my favorite.
Really
kill.
good stuff. Definitely got me. I was definitely like, oh shit, and feeling
That
like
was
I didn't
when
know
I
where
was
it was going to
most
come
in
from.
it. I was definitely most into it.
Yes.
Just to that point, there's a great Scream homage in that moment when the killer cleans off the blade, and then Teddy, as he's crawling towards the house, says "Mom," just like Drew Barrymore does
Yes.
at the
Very-
end of that
yes.
movie. So
Scream.
nice subtle homage to Scream
Inspired,
there.
we'll say.
But let me just
Stolen.
finish my overall thoughts
Please,
before you
please.
guys
Sorry.
go on a million different tangents. The one time in the movie that I started to come out of it and I started to lose steam and I started to question it and was the first killer reveal. When they reveal that the character of Stevie, one of their friends, is the killer. I was like, okay, that's where they went with it. Like, I thought it was kind of funny in some ways. Showing the Converse walking in the fisherman outfit was like a choice, but I kind of thought it was funny. I was like, all right, it's kind of ridiculous. But then, to me, when it switched and we realized there was another killer and we realized they had the testicular fortitude to make it Freddie Prinze Jr., I thought it was such a bold move on their part.
I would actually say the breasticular fortitude is the female director.
Well, there you go. And I thought that they actually, and I've rewatched it now, I saw it again, they really do set that up from the first time we see Julie James, the way she's talking about trauma and how it can change a person. There is a really clear through line to his eventual turn. And what I really liked about it that I thought was really smart, that was more topical in some ways and kind of just interesting in terms of his motivation. Ray in the first movie is the poor one of the group. He doesn't have any money. That's why Barry always talks crap to him and looks down upon him. That's like his signature role. He's the poor one, and that's his hometown, and he's a grimy fisherman, right? And in this movie, a rich, wealthy dude comes in and renovates the entire town, and his hometown that he loves gets completely changed and gentrified into this thing he can't even recognize. And on top of that, the local police and the entire society have covered up the entire killing spree that happened to him and his friends. I think those are really valid reasons that he would be upset. Now, look, you can quibble with like if someone would actually go to those lengths to kill people. We're in a slasher genre. People have to have motivations. But I thought the idea of the gentrification of Southport and erasing the memory of what happened to him, especially when they set up the trauma in the way they did, was it executed in the best way possible? No, but it still was really cool, and the tone the movie was going for, and the guts it had to take that step. I thought it was really exciting.
I agree. Like I said, I thought Freddie Prinze being the killer, totally cool. On what Alche said about him not being that great of an actor, his acting didn't really bother me too much, nor did Jennifer Love Hewitt's.
I love Jennifer Love Hewitt. She's so good.
This is the biggest spoiler because it's been withheld from all of the press and all that. Sarah Michelle Gellar's cameo.
Yes, she was so good.
Her cameo made everybody else look terrible because she was also made to look like her younger self.
Yes.
But she looked better and her acting was so much better, and it was a way more memorable scene than a lot of the other ones.
And what a great like Nightmare on Elm Street reference too, and just the vibes and everything.
Yeah, some of that. Yeah,
really great stuff.
I mean, it's a dream sequence that she has in the middle of being held by the police.
Right.
What? Did she just pass out?
No, they locked her in the room and she stayed there overnight. But there's been precedent in the night.
Wasn't clear.
No, it was very clear. That's literally clear.
at all.
And there's precedent in the franchise for those things that happen in the police station for characters to fall asleep and have nightmares.
I had problems with some of the story choices, but otherwise it was fun. I probably won't be recommending it to anybody.
To see it twice is crazy to me. It's crazy.
Oh, that's crazy. Because guess what? I'm seeing it again tonight.
I was
Third time?
Third time, baby.
I'll say this: I was way ahead of the Freddie Prinze Jr. reveal. Way ahead of.
Of course you were. Of course you were.
It seemed really
Freddie
obvious
Prinze
me
Jr.
because of those
was
things.
telegraphing the entire movie. He's in 10 minutes of movie. The first time I saw him, he's like, "Hey." He starts talking like this. All
happened
of a sudden, he's
before.
talking like this. And I'm like,
He's
why
old,
are you a
man. That's
gruff
what happens
man?
to vocal cords when you get old.
Yeah, is that what happens?
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say. Ultimately, I had a fun time. I give it a 5 out of 10. And what I'll say is I agree with Kellerman based on previous episode when he said the star power of these new folks pales in comparison to the old. Jennifer Love Hewitt, when she walks on screen, boom. Jennifer Love Hewitt's on screen. Sarah Michelle Gellar, when she pops in, boom, you are pumped. The others did a fine job, but they are not the level at all, acting-wise or taking up space-wise that those two powerhouse women are. And that is the biggest problem with this sort of requel experience going forward.
Yeah, they're not the big personalities at all, and I didn't feel a whole lot of chemistry between any of them either.
Well, gentlemen, I will say I appreciate that you both bought tickets and helped my revenue towards this indie pick that will surely be under the 150 mark.
Yes, it will.
So at least I know I'm not going over. But hopefully it has some legs. I do think this movie is going to appeal to some audiences and allow it to stay relevant, at least in the margins of the small amount of money it's making. So maybe it can crawl its way over the next few weeks to a decent little box office. I absolutely loved it. You know, I wish they made 5 slashers like this a year. They don't. So when they do make it, I really got to show up and support it and be active for it. So thanks for having me on to talk about it. And we'll see you next year for Scream 7. Wait.
Yeah.
One final thing. I have to shout out the podfather of the Scream mafioso, Ryan C. Showers.
Oh, sure.
Shout out to Ryan C.
Our
Showers.
friend Ryan C. Showers.
And my buddy Josh Carr, who's going through some things right now. We're thinking about you, Josh. I wanted to shout out my straight bros. And I'll be on his podcast, Ryan's, this week talking about this. So if you want a more in-depth analyzation of my thoughts on the movie, head over to Ryan C. Showers' podcast. And that's all I got to say.
Awesome. I'm going to say this to you in parting. If this movie makes more than $60 million, I'll be shocked. Shocked.
That's under 150.
Okay, I know what you did last summer. Go see it today. But that's it for our episode reviewing the week that was tomorrow.
Wait. You guys see Smurfs?
No, we didn't.
No, I didn't see
we
that.
didn't- we didn't
Really?
see
With the
Smurfs.
kid?
We didn't
No.
see
No,
Smurfs.
no.
Sorry, Riri.
many
Tomorrow's
people
episode,
did.
we are going to be seeing and talking about how excited we are for Fantastic Four.
Four!
The first family,
Wait. Fantastic Four.
the first
pretty
family of Marvel. That episode's coming up tomorrow, and then later on in the week, Happy Gilmore 2. We'll see you then.
Give it a little tappy.